Hello, everybody. For today's session, we'll look at the outbound sorting functionality. And this is actually the second video where I cover this functionality. So in the first video, we covered how to set it up and all the configuration aspect of the outbound sorting. And now for this second video, we'll then go through the process of outbound sorting using the configuration and setup that we did in our first video. So this is the main site here in our learn pages about outbound sorting. I'll make sure there's a link to that as well below in the video. And I also just created here a PowerPoint slide just very quickly, just to illustrate what the process that we're going through. So basically, we'll create some sales orders. I've already created two. And the way that in this example, what we are trying to do is that, so perhaps let's take a step back. So the outbound sorting, what we can really do with this functionality is that it allows us to sort the containers into, after they have been packed and closed and the containers have been closed, it allows us to sort these containers into pallets in a sorting location. So I think so that's a very helpful functionality. I think previously you would have to use a wave to accomplish something similar to that, but now we're able to do it in a separate process after we have packed and closed our containers. So that's what we're going to try to do here in this example. And in my example, I'm trying to break my pallets are based on customers. So every new customer will have its own pallet associated. Um, so in the sorting area. So that's what we're going to use in this example. So um, so I've created 4 sales orders basically. I will see that in a minute, and then we'll release it to warehouse. We'll do a normal pick and put to the pack location. We'll do some packing in the pack location, also totally standard. And then from there, we'll then do pack and close container to a sort location. And that's then the new step that we're doing based on the setup that we created in the first video. And then we'll start using 2 of our mobile device functionality that we added in our setup configuration video as well, the pallet build functionality, where we then create the sort positions, and then after that we can close the sort positions, and then we can use the second step in the mobile device screen, that is load from sorting. And from there we can pick and put it to Bador. And from there it's then also just standard warehouse management steps where the shipment status is then loaded, and then you can go ahead and confirm the shipment. So we'll jump into and see how that is being done basically. So let me jump into our F&O here, and you can see, let me refresh here. I have created already beforehand 4 sales orders, 924, 25, hang on, yep, 924, 25, 26, and 27. And you can see I have 2 sales orders for desert wholesales and 2 for cave wholesales. So what I wanted to basically do is to break down into 2 different pallets, right? That puts 2 of the containers for these 2 sales orders into 1 pallet, and the other 2 sales orders into a separate pallet. That's the intention of this process anyway. So we'll go look at the first sales order here, and you can see I have 2 sales order line with A0001, and they have been reserved already. So let me just check that. So you can see they're reserved. Second line should also be reserved. Let's just check that very quickly. Yes. So now we can go ahead and release this one to warehouse and just doing standard wave wave release based on for every sales order that we release to warehouse. So that was the first one. We'll do the next one. So go to 925 Desert Wholesale also. Only have one line. We'll go release to warehouse. Okay, so now that's being done. Go to the next one, 926. Now that's Cave Wholesales. We have two lines here, and we'll release to warehouse. They have also been reserved. So now that one was created work. And now I will go to the last one and release that one to warehouse as well. All right. So once we have done that, let's just check here in our work so you can see it. Maybe I should just filter this one a little nicer here. So you can see now we have some work created for these. And at this point, we are just the first step here. We are trying to just doing regular sales picking, and we are picking this in the location it is, and then we'll basically pack it into we'll put it into our pack locations, right? Okay, so I just arranged this one a little bit um, for the flow here a little bit easier. So we're just doing regular sales picking for these. So I'll just do the first one and then I'll just pause and complete the rest of them, right? But we have our work here that was created. So we'll do the first one here. We'll do sales picking, scan the work ID, and scan a license plate ID. You can see that was from our A0001 and the license plate in FL-007 is KK-31, so we're going to use that one. Okay, scan and target license plate, so we'll just do target license plate 160. And now we'll do A0002. And that's KK-30 is the license plate. KK-30. And then we'll deliver that to the put location. It's using the same target license plate. And you can see the put location is pack, right? So do that okay. And now, as you can see, that one should disappear. Now we have 3 open work left. So I'll just pause this one until all the 3 work has been completed, and I'll come back again. Okay, so now you can see I completed all the open work that I was done, and when I look at my on hand by location, I can see that all my order lines now has now been moved into the pack location here. So I can start my packing. So let's just duplicate a tab here, open our pack form. Packing containerization, go to pack. And in here, you can see I'm logged in as Julia van der Perk. I want to select that pack and profile ID I created earlier on in my setup, which was this one I called sort. And what it's basically doing, it's then moving it to my sort location that I have created. So I'm gonna put in a license plate or a shipment then. So you can see over to the right on my license plate and now GL-160. I'm sorry, it was without the dash. GL-160. Gonna go new container. Just use the standard here. And you can see that's 1 of 1. Able, so I'm just gonna select that one, pack that one, and pack the next one here. Once that's done, I'll say close container. And you can see now it's moving in it to that sort location that I've created. I can hit get system weight and then close that container. And now when I do that, I'll refresh here, and you can see it's now being moved. It's disappearing from my pack location, because once I close the container, it's actually being moved into that sort one location there. So I'll go ahead and do the next one and go new container. So pack just that 001. Oh, didn't I select it? There you go. Close container, system weight, and do the next one, 163, and go new container again, and there was 2, quantity of 2, and select that one as well, disappeared, go close container, get system weight, and all that. So as I'm doing this, I'll refresh my pack location here, and you can see I have 162 left to do there. So I'll click new container, and see I have 2 there, 2 lines. Go pack these, and then close container. Wait, and now I should see all of these has now been moved into my sort location. So once I'm here, I can then go and as my next step, and let's just review here on our slide deck. So what we did here, created sales orders, we released them to warehouse, we picked and put them to our pack location, we created containers, pack, and then close container to sort location. So that was the first step that really involved the setup and configuration that we had done. And now we are going to use our pallet build function in the mobile device and then create some sort position. So I'll open up my mobile device here. Maybe just get my slide away there. And you can see I have a pack menu item here, and it's where I place my pallet build functionality here. And so now, let's check actually my sort one location. And you can see now I have my my various lines in here with the container number on as my license plate here. So I'll go ahead and scan license plate and container to sort here. So I'll start with the first one. And remember, the way I have set it up is that I ideally want a system actually to break and create a pallet for each of my customers, right? So I put in the container ID, and it's asking me to scan sort position. So at this point, I don't have a sort position, so I'll type that in. So I'll just call it SP001. And now we have to scan in a license plate to sort. We don't have that license plate either. So I can call it SPL001, right? Okay. And you can now see I have my position ID there. I have my position license plate there, and I can then confirm that. Okay. So the next one, you can see that's for the same customer, right? So let's go ahead and copy that one. I'm gonna scan that in. And because in my setting I had that automatic outbound sorting, it actually knows now what position ID I'm using, right? So I'm using this SP01. So I'm just accepting that, and it's also knowing that I'm using that license, the same license plate. So I'm simply just accepting that. Okay, so now that work has been completed. Once I refresh here, you can see both of these now changed. The license plate on these changed, right? So I'm gonna do the same for the next order. And because remember the next order should have a separate pallet, right? Because it's a different customer. Um, so it's now asking me to scan a sort position for that. So I'm gonna say that's SP002 sort position, and then scan a license plate to sort, and I'm gonna call it SPL002. Confirm that, and you can see once I then this one changes. So the next one for the last one here, it should know already, right? It has that information. So I'm just accepting that. And it has that information, and I'm accepting that as well. So now they're all changed here. So at this point, we have now a new form. So let me just show you that. So if we go into our warehouse management, let's just collapse it again here under our packing and containerization, we have this outbound sorting position assignment. So when I go in here and look at these now, I can see I have two outbound sorting position, the SP001 I created and the SP002. And you can see they broke up the way I wanted it to, right? So based on the account number, so it's basically the customer number. So it created separate pallet for each of these two customers, right? So that's neatly. So what I can then do once I'm done here, I can close the positions, and I have two ways to close these positions. I can either do it from this form, and I can show how we do that from on the first one. So I can simply hit the close position here if I'm using this UI to close it from. So let's just start to do that. Now it disappears, and now I will show you how you can do it from the Warehouse mobile app. So if I just cancel out, we can use our pallet build functionality here. So click on the pallet build, and I'll just use any of the container ID on this opening one to put in here, scan that. And it will actually kind of come up with an error, which can be a little bit confusing. But if you read the text, it actually says the container is already sorted to position SP002. Do you want to close the position? And if I click away on that, I have this function that just says close, and I can hit close on it. And now that's completed. So if I refresh this form, you will see that one has also been closed. All right. So far so good. The next step now that we want to do is to go ahead and then load these two pallets from our sorting location, right? And to do that, we have this separate mobile device menu item that we created called load from sorting. And if you recall from if you saw our setup session, we have a location directory also set up that simply just take this from the sorting location and put it into our Bador location, right? So very simple. So we're now going to do that. So I'm going to say load from sorting, and then I will then scan a work or a license plate, and I'll just pause it so we can until I find these. Okay, so you can see once I did close those position, it created work, right? And you can see it's now using those target license plate. So we have two work items. So we'll start with the first one. Put in our work ID here. Check the values. There's multiple, sort one, and you can see picking it from sort 1 and it's putting into our bay door. Yeah. And the next one here. Do the same thing, picking it from sort 1 and putting it to our bay door. Okay, so that's pretty much concluded the demo. You can see after we used our load from sorting, our shipments now have that loaded status, and we can simply go ahead and confirm our shipments. And that would then conclude this demo. All right, hopefully you found it helpful to see those two videos about the outbound sorting functionality. Let me know. Thank you.